Hello lovelies, I am so excited to be here with you all today. I have an award ceremony that I'm attending tonight at my pharmacy school, and as class president I am going to be going up on stage and presenting two different awards, one to a teacher and one to a preceptor. So because I am going to be going up on stage and this is more of a formal event, I wanted to pop on here and do a going out glow look because I know I'm going to be up on stage, and stick around to see all the things that I do for this glow look. Not only will you see the products that I use that automatically give you a glow look, but I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks of things that I have learned over time of how to keep that glow, things that you don't even realize are giving you a matte look to the glow look that you're going for. Some newfound products that I'm absolutely in love with. Literally just found one last week and it has gotten up to the top 5 on my list. Find out what I do to whiten my teeth and one of my favorite perfumes. So since I'm going to be going out today, I'm going to brighten my teeth a little bit. I use Mr. Bright's Bright Light. And for the gel, I'm going to be using a teeth whitening gel. It's actually a dental professional strength. It's 45% carbamide peroxide, and I get that off of eBay, and I'll link that down below for you all. All you have to do is squeeze a little bit of that on the top of the tray and on the bottom. And then you'll turn that blue light on and place that in your teeth, and it will stay on for 10 minutes. As you all know, I start with my Dermatology Universal Tinted Moisturizer with an SPF of 46. Pump a little bit of that onto your hands, rub it in between your fingers, and spread that out on your face using Casey's technique of starting from the inside of your face and rubbing out. So I'm going to focus my makeup on being really bright and having a shine and a glow. So I'm going to start my face off with Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Filter. I'm using shade 3, which is light to medium. This stuff creates the perfect base for a glow face. So I'll put quite a bit of that all over my face. I'll take my foundation brush and spread that out amongst my face. I try to avoid where I'm going to be putting on concealer under my eyes. That way the concealer goes directly onto my skin instead of on top of this Flawless filter. Once I get that spread out evenly, as you've heard me talk about before, no matter how good of a product you have or how good of a brush you have, you're going to want to go in with your beauty blender and smooth out those lines. So for my foundation today, I'm going to be using Bobbi Brown's Skin Foundation with an SPF of 15. I'm using shade 3, which is beige. I really like to use this foundation because although you do get a full coverage depending on how much you use, it spreads out in a way that allows that flawless filter to show through, so we're still getting that shine instead of dimming that down. So since I am doing a full face of makeup, I'll probably go ahead and use an entire pump. Otherwise, it usually doesn't take a whole pump. You can see that this foundation has more of a water base to it, and I believe that that allows for that spread I was talking about. So I'll go in with my foundation brush, dab that onto the foundation on my hand, and instead of spreading that on my face, I'm going to dab it. Again, not to streak that Flawless filter that I already have on my face. And it's okay if you don't get it spread out perfectly, because just like with the Flawless filter, we're going to go in with the Beauty Blender. Again, today we're loving the foo-foo hairs. So even for a full face of makeup and a glam look that I'm going for tonight, I didn't end up using all of that pump that I put onto my hand. So this foundation doesn't take a lot. And like I said, we're going in with that Beauty Blender. Make sure that that's pressed onto the Flawless filter. If you watched my last makeup video, you saw where after I do my foundation and I know I'm not going to be messing with the area around my lips, I like to moisturize my lips. In my last video, I used Cindy Crawford's lip moisturizer, but today I'm just going to be using some Aquaphor. It doesn't take a lot of Aquaphor, so I'll put a little bit of that onto the tip of my finger and put that over my lips because we want these lips to be good and moisturized because we're not trying to be crusty. So after I've put on the Flawless Filter and my foundation, I'm going to go in with Charlotte Tilbury's Cheek to Chic, and I'm using shade Walk of No Shame. If you watch my previous video, I talked about how I like to use a tilted brush for my contour because I feel like it fits to the contour of my face better than a straight brush. So Charlotte Tilbury's Walk of No Shame gives you a pink tone, but I will concentrate my brush more in the center so I don't get too much, but it gives you more of a sun-kissed look as well. So I'll dab that in there, tap off any excess, and then start at the top of my forehead. And I'm not going to put too much because I'm going to go in with something else after I finish this, but I like this for that glow look that I'm going for because it has that shimmer in it, so it keeps that glow and doesn't tone down any of the glow that we've put on previously. After I've done my forehead, I'll go in on the sides of my nose, and what this does is help your nose look slimmer. And I'll go along my cheekbone, concentrating more color towards my ear. And you can see that red tone showing through that gives you a little bit more of a look that you've been out in the sun when you actually haven't, because we want people to look at us and be like, sis, you're browner than a biscuit. So next I'm going to go in with Charlotte Tilbury's Contour Blonde. And the reason that I like to go in with this is just a brown color, so it's going to tone down the red a little bit. But if you like the color that you get from the Walk of No Shame, feel free to walk with no shame. So you'll untwist the lid and pop that up to the top however much you feel like you'll need, and close the lid to lock it, and it keeps that product up at the top. And as I said, we want to be browner than a biscuit, so here we are preheating the oven to 375. And I'm going along the same lines where I already put the Walk of No Shame. We'll go in with our oven mitt and put those biscuits on the middle rack. So I'll use the oven mitt to spread out where I've put that Charlotte Tilbury. And now our biscuits are baking. And with that, we'll place the oven on broil and our biscuits are browned. After I've done both of those bronzers and contoured my face, today I'm going to be going in with Tom Ford's concealing pen, and I'm using shade 5.0. Tom Ford's concealer has a very soft sponge tip, and you use the bottom to click up however much you want to the top. And I literally cannot get over how smooth that this goes on and how soft that sponge tip is. I feel like it really gets it into my skin. And once again, John and Jill have decided to depart. They have boarded the ship, but Margaret and Mary are here hanging out, so we're going to cover those up. And so is Mildred. Okay, Mildred, you can go anytime now. And then I'll go in with my concealer under this eye as well to get those dark circles. Tom Ford's concealer is super soft and it doesn't need a lot to get that full coverage. So after I've put on the concealer I feel like I want and the amount that I need, I'll go in with my beauty blender and blend that in. You can go up on your nose a little bit and meet that bronzer. Go into the corner of your eye and dab that throughout. And because I am going for a glam look, I'm going to be doing a bit of a popped eye. I'll take my concealer and drag that in to where the bronzer is and pick up my eye a little bit. I'm a bit tickled. My tickle box is turned over. Take that concealer up onto your nose because more than likely you're going to get your bronzer a little bit lower on your nose than you want. And then take that, spread it out from the corner of your eye, going out towards your hairline, and give that bronzer a bit of a cut with the light concealer. Then what I'll do is whatever concealer I have left on my beauty blender, I'll take that and just dab it onto the bridge of my nose. This is actually the point where I would normally put on setting powder, but I have learned that if you're going for a glow look, that setting powder is going to tamper down that glow because most setting powders have a matte finish, and that is the opposite of what we're going for. So instead of setting my underneath eye and setting my contour here with setting powder, I'm going to skip that step for the glow look. So because I don't have much of an eyebrow, I have super short eyebrows, but the hair themselves is really thin, so there's not much I can do with them. What I'll do is I'll go in and color those in with the same brown eyeshadow that I'm going to be using on my eyes later on. So I take a super small brush with a tilted angle, and I'll go into my brown shadow. I'm going to be using this smoke shade right here in my Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palette. I was literally bald until I was 2, including my eyebrows. Now that I'm older, we are not trying to relive those days. Although I would appreciate the baby skin again. So I'm actually going to be going in with 2 eyeshadow palettes today. I'm going to be using Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. It's the luxury palette. And the other one is Urban Decay's Naked, and that's the Smoky palette. So for my base color, I'm going to dab into the Smoky palette, and I'm going to be using shade 13. As you can tell, I love this color because there's not much left. And I'll go over all of my eyelid with that. Give me a bright white shimmer as a base. Making sure to go in the corner of your eye because that's where we want our brightest point to be. And we'll focus on that as I do the eyeshadow. So the next shade that I'm going to be going in with is the prime shade, and that's this pink right here. I like to go in on my eye bone with that pink shade, going back and forth from the corner of my eye to the outside of my eye. Once I've put that shadow on my eye bone, now I'll start concentrating some more darker colors on the outside of my eye. So I'm going to go in on the Smoky palette with the Radar color. So because I have small eyes, I will go in halfway with my dark shadow. So the further in you go, the smaller your eye will look. So going only halfway makes my eyes look just a little bit bigger than what they are. So I will blend that in from the corner of my eye going to where my pupil is. So to finish off the smoke look or the dark look of my eye, on the outside of my eyes I'm going to go in with an even darker brown. This is shade Whiskey in the Naked palette. As with the Radar color, I went from the outside of my eye to halfway where my pupil is. So with this darker color, I'm going to go from the outside of my eye only about 1/4 of the way in. Again, I have smaller eyes, so I don't like to go in too far with my smoke color and make my eyes smaller. So I'll blend that in with the Radar that I just put on my eye that went halfway in. So as you can see now, I've got the smoke on the outer of my eye, and you can tell from going from the outside to the inside, we go from a darker shade and transition to a lighter and brighter as we get to the corner of my eye. So now to finish off my eyeshadow, we'll go in with that pop of color because since we want to pop off when we're going with that glam look. I'll go in with the Dirty Sweet color of the Naked palette, and I'll use the tip of my finger because with that pop of color, you always want to use the tip of your finger so it really absorbs into your eyelid. I'll dab that onto my eyelid and make sure that gets really pressed in. And I go from the corner of my eye halfway over and meet that smoke that I did previously. And then here's a little trick for you to really get that pop of color onto your eyelid is take the base of your hands here and just barely press. And that presses that pop onto your eyelid and it gets the rest of your eyeshadow pressed in as well. Next, I like to go in with my blush. I feel like if any eyeshadow falls onto your face, using that blush kind of picks that up, spreads it out, gets it off of your face. I also like to do my blush before I do my mascara because I feel like if I'm going in with a powder blush and I'm rubbing it on my cheek, there's a chance that those powder particles can flick up onto your eyelashes and tone down that black mascara that you've put on. Today I'm going in with Too Faced Fruit Cocktail Blush Duos, and this is the shade Like My Melons. And I'll take the same tilted brush that I use for my contour, dab that in, and get it evenly between the pink tone and the bronzer tone. Tip off that excess, and you really want to concentrate your blush on the fat pockets of your cheek. Spread that out and go towards your hairline. And I really like this blush for this glam look because we're still getting that shimmer in there. So to finish off that glow look of my blush, I'm going to go in with Charlotte Tilbury's Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand, and this is the high blush shade. It's just like the contour brush. You're going to twist that cap unlocked, squeeze up the amount that you want onto the tip of the brush, and then pop that locked so that it keeps your product on the top of the tip. I'll dab this along where I put the blush previously and concentrate that where I put the powder blush. Going in with my beauty blender, I will blend that out a little bit towards my nose, around my cheek pocket, and out towards my hairline. And again, I'm using this on top of that powder blush that I used previously, so we're getting a little bit more of a glow pop. So if you've watched any of my previous makeup videos, you know that I'm not a big eyeliner girl, and I don't have anything against eyeliner. It just goes back to the fact that my eyes are so small, and I feel like if I use eyeliner, especially if I use a lot of it, it makes my eyes look smaller. But if you're going for that, if you have bigger eyes and you're going for that smaller eye look, put on eyeliner. And the eyeliner is the same as the eyeshadow. So the further in you go, the more smaller it's going to make your eyes look. So what I actually do is I will go halfway in from the corner of my eye to the middle of my eye. That still lets my eyes look a little bit bigger than what they actually are. For my eyeliner, I'm using Absolute New York's Duo Stroke. So it has two different ends. One is a little bit bigger than the other, and because I don't use eyeliner a lot, I find myself using the smaller end to give myself a little bit more room to mess up. So on that bottom lash, I'll go super thin and only go halfway in. And then the same with my top line as far as going halfway in. So if I were doing an everyday look and I were wearing eyeliner, this is a point where I would stop. But because I am going to be up on stage and I'm going for a glam look, I am going to do a winged eyeliner, but not too much. I'll take what I did on the bottom line and I'll try to envision an imaginary line of where I want my eyeliner to be, and I'll drag that out ever so slightly, going from the bottom lash, and then I'll bring down the top lash to meet that line I made, because I find that if I go from the top, I won't angle up my eyeliner as much as I need to. So the last thing I'll do is my mascara, And I remember when I was little, I had this American Girl doll diary type thing. And it asked me if you could take any one makeup item with you when traveling, what would it be? And mine was mascara. And to this day, it is still mascara. So I really like to concentrate on my eyelashes and make a big deal out of those, especially with this big glam look that I'm going for tonight. I'll go in with my eyelash curler, and I like to pump that because I found that if I keep it in the same place for too long, it creates more of a dent in my eyelashes than a curl. So because I am going for a full-on face of makeup tonight, I'm going to be using two different mascaras. One of those is Charlotte Tilbury's Legendary Lashes Volume 2. And I'll go in with this mascara first. I'll give myself a pretty good base on both my bottom and my top lashes because I feel like this one gives me length and then the other one will give me more volume. And honestly, this one is probably good enough. And sis, if you're happy with it, go with it. To give myself a little bit more volume, I'm going to go in with Anastasia's Lash Brag Volumizing Mascara. As I said, this gives me a little bit more of a thick lash look. I used to make fun of my mom before I wore mascara. Maybe not necessarily make fun of her, but she was the whole mom thing, you know, like when you become a mom and those mom genes start expressing themselves and you start doing things that you did before you were a mom. She was doing the whole mom gene thing where she would put mascara on and she would be like, and I would ask her, I'd be like, Mom, why do you hold your mouth open? Because I remember hearing on the radio actually with my mom that opening your mouth does nothing to help you put on your mascara. And then as I've gotten older, I've become more and more like my mom, and I find myself going, and then I have to remind myself that that doesn't help, and Casey, you look like a fool. Actually, you just look like Christy, but if it helps you to put mascara on to hold your mouth open, I'm here for it. So as you can tell, both of those mascaras gave me both the length and the thickness that I was going for. So I have super volumized lashes because, once again, I'm going to be on stage. So people that are sitting out in the crowd, I want them to be able to notice my lashes. And a lot of you keep asking me what mascara I'm using. And as I told you, it's the Charlotte Tilbury and or the Anastasia mascara. But I'm telling you, the difference that is going to make your eyelashes look big and long and voluminous and make a difference is the Roden & Fields Eyelash Serum. You have got to get that stuff. After the mascara, my last thing that I'll do to finish off my look is the lipstick. I'm going to be using Morphe lipstick. The shade is Jealousy, and this shade just works for me. It matches the Too Faced shade that I found for myself probably 6 or 7 years ago, but super cheap, way less expensive than Too Faced, works just as well, looks just as well. So I'm not going to do anything fancy like lip liner or anything today. It's also hard to talk and put lipstick on at the same time. But I'll just go in with that Morphe all over my lips. And I'll kind of use the lipstick to line my lips. And I'm going to be going in with a gloss, so it's okay if the lining of the lipstick is not perfect. So, one of my newfound absolute favorite makeup items is the Tom Ford blush. This is a gloss Luxe in the shade 02, which is Nikita. The dress I'm going to be wearing tonight is a royal blue, so both my eyes and my dress will be blue. And you're supposed to wear colors that are the opposite of the color of your eyes on the color wheel. And mine just so happens to be orange, which is kind of a weird color, but I did find this lip gloss in orange. As you can see, the lipstick on my lips is kind of a mauve pink color, but this lip gloss is so amazing. The color of the orange even shows up on top of this matte lipstick. Oh my god. I'm in love. Are you kidding? And literally, no, I'm not kidding. This is not fake news. This is no cap. On God, no cap. I literally can't get over it. And before I head out, I'm going to put on a spritz of my absolute favorite perfume. It is my favorite to the point that I don't even want to tell you all about it, but I'm happy to share it. What's mine is yours, so I wish I could like just let you all smell this. Like, why have they not invented something where I can just put this up to the camera and let you smell it? My favorite perfume of all time is Jimmy Choo's The Original. This perfume has a bit of a musky smell, but it is also a deep sweet smell. Oh my god, I wish you all could smell it. So I'll just spritz some of that onto my wrist, rub that in and into the back of my ears, and sometimes I'll put that in my hair a little bit so the scent stays there longer. And that stuff is the literal best. It will stay on all day and you'll smell so good. So many people will be like, what's that scent? Make sure you tell them Casey Mariah told me it's Jimmy Choo.